All right. All right. So, on tonight's YouTube video, yeah, where I'm putting that YouTube. So, tonight, what I'm going to be doing is demonstrating a circuit on xplane 10 using Cessna 172. I'm going to be flying out of my home city, Moncton, so Greater Moncton International, and that will be we'll be using real winds and real weather. So let's go ahead and log in. So what I'm doing is, and what I would recommend everyone else to do when they're using Flight Simulator, is keep adding, every time you go fly, add a little bit more details. Like, find something you can improve on a little bit and just like add it. So tonight, what I'm doing is I'm adding a checklist. I printed a checklist off, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that to when I fly. Just getting used to having a checklist with me. I find it easier to have like a real checklist because that would make it more realistic, is to actually have a paper-based checklist and have it off the simulator. Because if you do go fly for real life, you're gonna have a checklist that is like, basically when you fly, your checklist is usually, what I usually keep it is underneath my seat, close to my leg, so I can feel where it is at all times, and then I flip it, and then I go through the checklist, and I'll say checklist is complete, and then I'll have the checklist ready for the next thing I need, and then I just put it back. If that makes sense, right? So, so yeah, that's something I'd recommend. Basically what I did is I went online, I Googled Cessna 172 checklist, and then all these checklists came up, and I just printed one off. So if you were looking to add checklists to your flying, just go pick the plane that you fly with and look for the checklist on Google, and then you can usually print it off, and then you have it. The series, the jets, that if you are flying with that plane, I have been doing a few videos with that plane. I love to fly. It's a lot of fun to fly with in the simulator. For that plane, there's no official checklist yet, so because I don't think the plane has been manufactured. So yeah, so that's about it. So let's go ahead and let's go do some circuits. It's gonna be 3 a.m. in the morning in Moncton, and it's using real winds and weather. So we'll have to actually see if we're safe to do circuits. So we'll fly with these options, because you need at least 1,000 feet to do circuits, and you can't be in any cloud to stay VFR. VFR, all that means it's visual flight rule. So all that means is you're flying without looking at your instruments, and you're basically flying with references outside. And so let's have a look. Well, I can see some stars, and that's good. That error message is this box here. This is the IVAO, and it's a network of, it's a network where you can do radio calls in multiplayer. I'm turning that off tonight. I don't want to use that for this evening. So we're gonna disconnect. We're gonna toggle that, close it. And let's have a look. Let's just visually look and see what we have for winds here. I don't know if we can do a circuit. We will have a look. Yeah, typical Moncton. This looks like a really low ceiling. So what I'm gonna do before I saw the stars, but then it loaded the clouds. It looks like I don't think we're gonna be able to do circuits. Let me go and look on the actual METAR and check the weather. And if not, we'll have to simulate. We'll basically have to change the weather conditions so we can fly. Because it looks to me that looks like yeah, we'll have to look. So I'm gonna go online right now. I'm just going to Google CYQM weather nav Canada. So CYQM, all that means is that's the 4 letters for Moncton that pilots use. So it's a 4-letter abbreviation. So yeah, this doesn't look good. This does not look good at all. because the weather here, it's 10 statute miles, light rain. It's overcast at 600 feet. Temperature 6, dew point 6, altimeter 3001. So, overcast. It basically, I'm reading the METAR, it says OVC006. So it's overcast at 600 feet. And I need at least 1,000 to do circuits. So I can either just change what I'm gonna have to do, I wanna fly out of Moncton just because I'm familiar with it. I'm gonna change the weather. So we're gonna go and we're gonna read quick flight setup, but this time we're gonna not use this. And we're basically fly with a few clouds. Oh, we will be flying at night still. So this will be a night circuit. Fly with these options. There we go. I see the stars. Beautiful. So that's good. So the windsock, that windsock's basically showing a crosswind where the direction is going, but notice how the sock is not really pointed horizontal at all, so that means the winds are very light and variable. We have no winds. Okay, I can see the stars, that's awesome. So, luckily I am already on the runway, so that makes it my life a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and grab the checklist and do the circuit. So I'm gonna have my handy flashlight. Where did I put it? Okay. Actually, I'll have this to kind of simulate night flying a bit, I guess. It's better. So we're all the way at takeoff. So we'll do a before takeoff check. So park and brake was set. So we already did the run up before takeoff. So takeoff, flaps are up, carb heat is in. So carb heat is pushed in, flaps up. For takeoff, we'll put flaps to 15 or 10 degrees. Transponder to altitude. So when I used to fly before, it automatically, the GPS automatically changed the transponder to alt. So I think it automatically does that when you take off. So if not, we will put the transponder to off standby. We'll just leave it for now. So it needs to be alt. That basically makes the transponder say that you're flying. I wonder if that. Oh shoot, why did I touch all this? This is like the autopilot or something. Okay, I'm turning. Okay, don't touch that dial. I thought I saw the ALT, so I figured that was connected to transponder, which it isn't. I'll just leave it. Okay, so transponder altitude trim is set for takeoff. So this is your trim bar. So we're gonna set it up for takeoff. So basically, we're gonna trim it down a little bit for takeoff. So that way, when I take off, it already has the correct trim for when we to have the takeoff basically attitude outside. Throttle is gonna be full, and then as we're going full throttle, we're gonna check oil and airspeed, and we're gonna lift at 55 knots, and our climb speed is gonna be 70 to 80 knots. So here is our airspeed. So it's gonna go to 55 knots. That's when, around 55 knots, that's where I'm gonna rotate. So I'm gonna pitch I'll be using the mouse. I'll put the mouse and move it down, and then I'll be climbing at between 70 to 80 knots in that range. Okay, which is a normal climb out I'm just looking at my checklist. Normal climb out is between 70 to 85, and we have let's do a little takeoff debrief. I should also set the altimeter because It's 232. The elevation of Moncton's 232, so we need to. There we go. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. 232 on the altimeter. What you need to do is whatever you put for your altimeter should correspond with the elevation of the airport. Okay. So okay, we're gonna do a takeoff, little quick takeoff briefing. So we're taking off runway 11. Okay, 11 in Moncton. So in an event of an engine failure before taking off, I'll press B brakes on the keyboard, bring your throttle back, and make a contact tower with what we did, and make a full stop. In the event of an engine failure after flight, if we're below 500 feet, I'm gonna fly straight ahead and pitch for 60 and then land. And then in the event of engine failure, maybe after 800 feet, or 900 feet, we'll be going for the runway. And we'll be doing left-hand circuits for demonstrating xplane 10. Also, we'll be working on the checklist, using that a little bit if we gradually put that in. We'll do simulated radio calls, so we'll do our best with the radio calls. If we miss them, no big deal. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and let's fly. So brakes are off. So I'm gonna press right here. This say the brakes are currently on. You can see these are all the lights, annunciator lights. So press B for brakes. And November 172 Sierra Papa is on runway 11, and so we should have the right frequency for the tower, which is 121.8. So let's switch that over, making it a little bit more realistic here and there. So 121.8. The key is, I think you want to, when you're flying in the flight simulator, is like make it fun, but keep adding details every time you fly. So 121.8 is the tower frequency. So this switches it over. Right now it's on standby. Boom, that switches it over. So now on COM 1, we're talking to
error.
We're talking to tower 121.8. I don't know why that error came up. Oh, because it was trying to connect me to the IVAO network, but we're not using that tonight, so it doesn't matter. And yeah, so that's about it. Let's take off and do some circuits. So brakes off. So I'm looking straight ahead. I'm gonna press F1 for throttle. Also gonna set up properly so I can or F2 for throttle, pardon me. I'm gonna straighten the plane a bit. I don't have rudder pedals right now, so that's kind of a challenge, but we will be getting, I will be getting rudder pedals, so I'm doing my best without it. Like I said, I'm gonna implement new things every time I fly, so a little bit each time. So I'm looking inside my my cockpit. So we'll pitch for the climb, 70 knots. And I'm maintaining the heading. Put our flaps up, so that's number 1 on the keyboard. And we'll make a 15-degree angle of bank towards the left. So we're doing standard left-hand circuits. There we go. So at 1,232, we'll do our cruise, our circuit pattern. So attitude, cruise attitude, bring back the power. And we're gonna trim the plane. So I'm looking over, there's our circuits. So now we'll do, oh, don't want to. So we're looking for like around 2,300 RPM. I can't really see the gauge, but that's okay. So now we'll do a 30-degree angle bank. And before turning, you should always look where the direction you're turning. And we're going to be on downwind shortly. There we go. So I'm looking ahead for a reference point, looking to the side. There's the runway that's parallel. And I would do a radio call. So Moncton Tower, it's November 172, Sierra Papa on left downwind for runway 11 first, stop and go. And you say Roger, and let's say he says number 1, we'll say number 1, read back that. So now I'm going to do my left to right checks in the downwind. So we're looking here, altimeter is good, lights are good, boom, 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 mixture's full rich, carb heat check, so we can pull the carb heat in and out, flaps are good, radio's good, okay, boom. And then we also want to check our temperatures and pressures, they're all in the green. We're looking here. So that's called the left to right check. You do that on downwind to, oh, we're losing our altitude a bit. So we're doing the left to right checks. I have a cruise attitude. So basically if I put my fist on the dashboard, it covers, or it's basically at the horizon. So that's called your cruise attitude. So that's what you want. So let's say we were number 1. So what I'm gonna do is, as far as I can see in the simulator, so number 1, we will say number 1, and we'll do our left hand turn, 30 degrees angle bank, and then I'll bring my power back to about 1,800 RPM, and then I'll put my flaps down. So 1 notch of flaps, I'll pitch for maybe, oh crap, I'm just gonna look at my checklist what the approach speed is. Can't see, is that the runway? We'll say turn around now. So we will be approaching, final approach with flaps is between 60 to 70 knots. So that is the airspeed we're looking for. So my pitch up and down controls my airspeed, and the power controls the rate of climb and rate of descent. So there's the runway for runway 11. Got the lights on, perfect. So I'm pitching up to get that airspeed and slowing down a bit. So Moncton Tower, November 172 Sierra Papa is on final for runway 11 for a stop and go. And you'll say, Roger, you are clear to land. Runway 11, clear to land. So I'm looking on the runway, I'm looking for that correct angle of descent. And we also have the PAPI lights, so we have 2 red, 2 white, which is great for your approach. So I'm adding, now it's 3 red and 1 white, so I'm adding a little bit of power. Pitching back a little bit to get the airspeed lower. So if let's say I'm here and I want to bring it lower airspeed, I pitch up. And then if I want to change my rate of climb or my rate of descent, I change it with power. Okay? So power controls your rate of climb and rate of descent. Your pitch controls the airspeed of the plane. And here we go. So I don't have rudders on the simulator yet, unfortunately, but I would do rudder or stick into the wind and opposite rudder. But for now, we don't, so we'll do our best. So here we go. We're coming in, cruise attitude, bring the power back. There we go. And then B for brakes. First stop and go. So we're just gonna change the flaps, bring them up, and we're good to go. Ah! Okay, you stay. Okay, there we go. And we'll take off. So full power is achieved, airspeed's alive, temperature pressures are good, squealing tires, and rotates. So when you're flying night circuits, I'm looking right now at my attitude indicator because it's really hard to see. So I'm referencing that, looking outside, but referencing inside. So any illusions I don't fall prey to any illusions. Okay. So that's what I'm doing right now. And you can also, if you need to do a visibility check or cool down your airplane, you can always pitch down for a bit and then pitch back up to your climb. And I'm looking back on the checklist. So the climb speed is, normal climb is between 70 and 85 knots. So it's about 80 now, so that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna start making a 15-degree angle bank to the left, and we're coming up to our circuit altitude, which is 1,232. So 15 degrees. Before turning, I check and I'm basically making 90-degree turns. Air circuit altitude, or attitude, power and trim. So my cruise attitude, bringing the power back to about 2,300, and then trimming the plane to make sure when I let go that it's staying this altitude we want. Okay, so, and then we have the runway 11 on 90 degrees here, so that's kind of a reference. This is not always 100% accurate with the winds and stuff, but what you want to do is you look where the plane is flying, like at a 90-degree angle, find something that's 90 degrees for reference, so that highway is a good reference. And then we make a 30-degree angle bank, or up to 30 degrees, and we'll do that for the downwind. So while I'm turning, I'm keeping that cruise attitude outside, and getting that reference, boom, where the highway is, nice beautiful highway, easy to reference. Wham, bam, shabam. I should be at 2,300. I can't see though. If you can't, oh shoot, that was not good. I hate when that happens. I click. If you do a left click on the mouse, it turns the plane where your mouse is. So just be careful of that. And I'm at 21 RPM. I can see it now. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more power. A little bit slow for a circuit. And then Moncton Tower, November 172 Sierra Papa is on left down for runway 11. And he'll say left down one, runway 11, and he'll say you're number 1. There's no one flying except for me. Number 1. November 172 Sierra Papa. So we just read back that. And so there is the circuit, nice and straight. So, and you want to have basically your engine, the wing, basically where the there's a metal piece from the wing to the fuselage. You want basically to see the runway halfway up your that beam that runs from the fuselage to the wing for the 172 for circuit. So I'm in a little bit, just by referencing there, I'm in a little bit tight, so I can maybe move here. I'm always looking at the reference point farther away out here. This is where I'm focusing on, way the heck out there. So I'm just focusing on flying there, and then we'll do our left to right checks. So our engine gauges look fine, oil's good, circuit breakers are all in, maybe carb heat is good, or you could check it. Flaps are, oh, I still have my flaps up, so I'll bring them back to 0. We're going to bring them down again anyways, but so keeping that reference. So see how the plane is going, you're seeing more of the ground and less sky. I'm not trimmed out properly. So I need to, and I see I'm descending a bit, so you need to keep the plane at a cruise attitude. So that's cruise attitude. When you can put like your fist or a reference point, cruise, boom. Cruise attitude and cruise power will give you the correct performance. Okay. So is this our carb heat on the, no. Is that the carb heat? No. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll make our turn to base, 30 degrees, and we'll bring our power back a bit. And getting that correct airspeed that we want. So we got runway 11 on the boom. So I'm picking a reference point in front of me. So there's not much, but maybe that star there, like in between those two. Yeah, we're 90 degrees, that's good. We're a little bit farther away because I kind of didn't turn quite on the base when I'm number 1, but that's okay. And then we'll go ahead and start turning on final. So I'm going to keep the power up. Looking for the runway. Perfect. So we'll start setting up our approach. So we want to get our approach speed, which is final approach with flaps is between 60 and 70. I kind of lost focus on the checklist. Wasn't flying the plane first. Okay, I should know my numbers. So 60, we're going to pitch for 60, bring the power back. We're going to put our flaps down. And then the Moncton tower is going to say, November 172 Sierra Papa, you're cleared to land runway 11. And you say, Roger, cleared to land runway 11. So about 70 knots. So we have 4 white lights, so that means we're high. See those 4 white lights? We're high. So you wanna, that means we gotta bring the power back, because power controls our rate of descent. So we got 1 red light, that's good, so we're still pretty high. Bring the power back a little more. There we go, we got 2 white, 2 red. That's what we want. Looking at that reference point right here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So before I hit the ground, I'm going to rotate. It's around 60 feet above the runway, 60 to 40 feet. We're rotating to a cruise attitude like that, bringing the power back a bit, and boom, we land it. So let's say we're clear to land for just a touch and go. We will go ahead and take off right away. I probably should have put my flaps up 1 notch, but we'll take off with this flaps, it's fine. Rotate. So we'll keep the flaps, so it's 15. So this time I'm gonna simulate working over the city, just do some sightseeing. So Moncton Towers, November 172 Sierra Papa. We're gonna, instead of doing circuits, we're gonna go do a little bit of sightseeing over the city of Moncton for about 20 minutes. And he says, Rogers, cleared over the city. So we're actually cleared to go over there. We're in a control zone, so we have to request permission to do that. So we'll do a 15-degree angle bank. And we'll tell them we're going to be 2,000 feet and between 2,000 and 4,000 feet. So that way he knows what altitude we're going to be working over the city. And he says we're good to go. So we're clear to do that. So I'm just going to lower my plane now to kind of have a reference of what's going on outside. And then I'm going to pitch back up. So I'm going to basically look for the city. There it is. And I'm going to fly towards it. I should be, one thing I'm not doing properly is the carb heat. I'm not pulling it out. I can't really read, oh, is that it there? There we go. Here's the carb heat. So if you're new to flying Cessnas, in the simulator, basically, the carb heat is used to basically just see if there's icing accumulating. So if I pull out the carb heat, we should have some minor changes in RPM. And if it's good, then we're good to go. So we're climbing. 2,000, we'll go to 3,000 feet. Let's put the carb heat in. Should be doing that when we're climbing. That's more of a cruise check that we do. All right. It's easy to fall prey to illusions when you're flying at night, so you want to look in your attitude indicator for a reference to keep you focused on. So you're going to be using more instruments when you're flying at night. I'm actually flying towards the city or not? Oh crap. I turned too far one direction. So 3,000 feet, cruise attitude, in the power back, trim. So I'm not pointing towards the city, so I have to fix that. Crap. Can't really tell, so we'll just turn here, have a look. There we go. That's better. So I basically took off and I started climbing and I turned too far. It's okay. And we'll just level off here. So cruise attitude. Bring the power back. Not really maintaining my altitude. Okay, and also I'm gonna get use my checklist more, so we're leveling off. So pitch set, throttles required, trim, set, mixture, adjust. So mixture adjust, what that means, if you are, let's say you're flying for a while, you can actually bring the mixture and get it for better performance. So you bring it back, you see a rise in RPM, then the drop, and then once it drops, you just move it forward a bit. So right there. Can't really see the RPM gauge, but it's okay. So we'll do our pre-landing checks and go in for a full stop. So notice how I'm flying and turning, and all of a sudden you lose references, right? Because you're flying at night. So you have to use your attitude indicator inside. So this guy here, I'm referencing him more, right? So I'm pitching 20 degrees. I got my cruise attitude. It's turning like 30. So we'll do our pre-landing check. So fuel selector on, mixture's full rich, carb heat on, and seat belts fastened. And approach. Flight instruments controlled and set. Radios checked. ATIS checked. Carb heat on. Mixture's full rich. Landing light on. Up airspeed. So we won't get the latest ATIS because we were just on tower frequency, and we'll go ahead and there's the runway. So we'll go ahead and request a full stop. So Moncton Tower, November 172 Sierra Papa is over the circuits. We're going to be going in for a full stop over the city. And he says, Roger, you are... so he would give us our new altimeter setting, winds, and information we need. And let's say he would say we're number 2, so we're number 2 to land. So he hasn't cleared us to land yet. There's another plane landing right now. So we need a descent, so we're gonna put some flaps down. So we're going to get that approach speed, which is, with flaps, between 60 to 70 knots. We're smoking high, so I have power all the way back. Let me just see here. Forward wing flaps. So we're so high, I would do, one maneuver you can do is put stick into the, or yeah, we can't do that on the simulator because my rudders don't work. A forward slip, but we can't do a forward slip, which sucks. Which is basically sticking to the wind opposite rudder, and you basically, all the extra drag makes the plane slow down. See this light here? That means it's the beacon for the airport. So if you're ever looking for your runway and you're flying at night and you're lost, look for that flashing white light, because that's what you need to see. So we're pretty high. So I'm gonna say Moncton Tower, November 172, Sierra Papa, request a 360, and he says 360 is approved. I say 360 for spacing. So he lets us do that. So I'm gonna do a 360 turn. So we'll just do rate 1. So rate 1 turn is here, ball's in the center, and we still have our approach set up. Can add a little bit more power now. The 232 is the elevation. So we're getting closer to the ground. So we're a little low here with the 3 red lights, so keep the power on. And then I'll say he cleared us to land, so clear land runway 11. So it's for a full stop. Power back. Full brakes. I think V is for hard brakes in the simulator. There we go. And let's get off the runway. So let's practice that. It'd be nice to get rudder. So, crap. There we go. So in the simulator, it doesn't come with inputs for rudders unless you actually have a rudder or a joystick. So you need to get that, because if not, like right now I'm just taxiing the plane with aileron controls and not with rudders. It's a little bit more difficult. So you need to get that. I need to get that anyways. And once I do, I think life will be a lot easier. So turn here. So I'm looking for the blue taxi lights, and we'll say he cleared us to off the runway to Charlie. So we'll get off the runway. So you want to get off the runway right away. We're now in the taxiway, so we can slow down, put the parking brake on. And then you switch over to tower frequency. Say he says contact tower 128 or contact ground at 128. So we'll do that. Contact ground 128. Moncton ground, it's November 172 Sierra Papa.
Error.
Looking to go to the flight college out here. He says, Roger, cleared to the college. So what we'll do is we'll just shut down. Shut down right here. Put the plane into the wind. And yeah, I'll shut the plane down. Whoops. That wasn't good. Whatever. So we have our after landing checks, so we should have done that. Flaps up. Carb cold, so pushed in, transponder on standby, and landing light off. Landing light off. Can't really. There's an app you can get for the xplane where you can actually, landing light off, where you can actually see things a little bit better. So I'll probably get that shortly. So after landing is done, parking, so avionics off, electronics off. Oh crap. How am I gonna shut down the plane if I can't see? We'll do a magneto check, left both, right both, and then off. Ignition switch off, master switch is off. Throttle 1000. Actually, you know what? We're supposed to, I screwed that up. We're supposed to do a mixture idle cutoff. That's why we have a checklist. I shouldn't have shut the plane off that way. That was not good. I may have to snag the plane actually. Because you're supposed to go mixture idle cutoff. Mixture idle cutoff. Because the engine was still running when I brought the ignition to off, so that's not good. But always follow your checklist. So we have a checklist. so we don't make those mistakes. And all right, so yeah, having a checklist is actually very useful for the simulator. So I'd recommend, if you're not using a checklist yet and you're a little lost on like little things to do when you fly, what I would do is go on Google the plane you're flying, get a checklist and kind of review it and go over it and have it as a tool, but actually print it off. I would recommend that instead of using it on the simulator. So yeah, that's about it. So off. And then let's get the heck out. Uh-oh. I can't see anything. It's dark in here. So I'm trying to get out of the plane, but I don't know where the handle is. It's like pitch black. Okay, well that was my couple circuits and flying over the city of Moncton demonstration on a Cessna 172. On the next videos, I'm looking to do the actual radio calls on the IVAO network for xplane 10, and yeah, that's it. We'll see you on the next video.